Hey guys, Ty Lord here. I just went and saw No Time to Die, the latest Bond movie, number 25 in the franchise, the fifth one and final of the Daniel Craig era. So this kind of rounds out his little reboot of the James Bond series. I'm a huge Bond fan ever since I was 5 years old. That's my franchise there. Other than life priorities and family and all that, Bond is my thing. James Bond movies. I probably get the most enjoyment out of that series than anything else in media. So I always look forward to the newest Bond movie coming out. I've seen all of them in the show since I was uh, like um, since I was maybe 8 years old when I saw it, Living Daylights at the theater. I'd seen all of them, a lot of them on VHS tape before that, and I've seen all of them at the theater since then. The only one I missed out on was Tomorrow Never Dies. Unfortunately, that was a busy time um, around the time I graduated high school. Um, anyway, so I went and saw this new one. I always look forward to it. I've been looking forward to it for 6 years. Like, I'm more of an old school Bond fan. The old ones do it for me more than this Daniel Craig era. He's probably my least favorite Bond, but that being said, I really like his movies as movies. Like, they're probably the best thing going for me today are the Daniel Craig James Bond movies. So I don't want to knock them. They're not really my type of Bond movie, but I see a little glimmer of the old movies in there every once in a while as I watch them. Not only that, but they're decent movies overall. I tend to enjoy them. I've enjoyed all of Daniel Craig's, even the Quantum of Solace. I've enjoyed that. Not my favorite by far. And I really like Spectre. I think Spectre was the closest thing to the old formula of Bond movies that I like the most. Um, but as far as No Time to Die, this is different. A lot of throwbacks though that I enjoy. I don't know if it necessarily makes it a better movie, but there's a lot of classic James Bond movie references in here, which get me all giddy inside. Don't know if it makes it a better movie, but they're there and I really love them. But this movie goes to new places we've never seen before in Bond movies, and I like them, but not really as a Bond movie. I have a little checklist of the things I want in a Bond movie, and a lot of those things have not been there for years. Not saying the new ones are bad, I just prefer that older style. But this one checks a lot of the boxes that I like for a Bond movie, but then it adds a lot of new stuff that I would never expect. Like, I would never expect a Bond movie to go to these places, but they're pretty good. Like, I enjoyed the new territory that this Bond movie went to. No Time to Die. Um, so I don't know if I'm gonna spoil it or not in this little discussion. I'll put a warning on the description if I spoil it. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go there in this. I just want to talk about my initial feelings of this movie. I actually took the day off of work to go watch it. My wife and I went out on a date. We had a nice day. Went and got some pizza, and then went and saw. My mom watched the kids, and then we went and saw No Time to Die. I've been looking forward to it for years. It's been delayed because of COVID and other things. Um, yeah, I really enjoyed my time there. Watching the movie is about 3 hours long. It was a good 3 hours, though. I think I got my money's worth. Yeah, I bought the tickets a few weeks ago to get it opening day. I called off of work. My wife said it was okay. But I'm just going to go down my checklist of things I want in a Bond movie. Doesn't necessarily make a good movie, but it makes a good Bond movie from my perspective, like what I want. I don't expect every Bond movie to be exactly the same, but there's a certain formula I like. And it was done for like the first 16 movies, pretty much the same ingredients, same type of Florida, same type of formula, but But those movies all were different. Like they all sound the same on paper, but when you watch those movies, there's always a little bit different flavor to all of them. Different locations, different actors, different villains. So you can say, "Oh, don't go to that recipe. That formula is wearing thin or whatever." But it didn't run thin for like 30 years, and it's still a lot of it is still going now. So as long as there's like new, fresh locations, different dialogue, I think like you could keep going with that formula and these ingredients that I wrote down forever, and they would never get old. Like I think even the similar movies in the franchise, like Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker here, have pretty much the same exact plot, same director, came out like 2 years apart, like the same like plot, almost identical plot line, but those movies are very different. They have a very different vibe, but they're both enjoyable. And I respect the movies going in new directions. This Bond movie really did. This really went far away from what I ever expected to be in a Bond movie. But I mean, it was good. I enjoyed it, but not really my type of Bond movie. But a good movie that I enjoyed. Like Casino Royale is definitely not my favorite Bond movie, but I went and saw that at the theater about 5 times. I love that movie. But it's not necessarily my type of Bond movie that I like. And Craig is not my type of Bond, even though I like Daniel Craig and I get giddy every time I see him, just like all Bond fans. If I see him in other movies, like, oh, that's James Bond right there. But he doesn't do it for me like Connery, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton, even Lazenby or Pierce Brosnan. Anyway, I'm going to get to this subject here. So I'm going to go down my that I wrote here on the receipt. This receipt from Mad Monks, right by all my DVDs. I wrote down a little checklist, the type of things I want in a Bond movie. My recipe for a Bond, personally, what I want in a Bond movie. I wrote those all down here, and I'm going to tell you whether or not this new movie checked that box for me. A lot of them are here. A lot of them are in this movie. Gun barrel opening, check. Gun barrel openings there. I can't stand it when they don't put the gun barrel opening in a movie. That's like always one of the highlights. The thing that gets you hyped for the Bond movie. Like, you know, you're going into a Bond movie. It's the same as the crawl, the opening crawl on a Star Wars movie. Like, that's got to be there. And it's been in there in all of them except for some of the more recent ones. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not, but the gun barrel is there. It doesn't have the blood dribbling, but there's the gun barrel opening sequence. Bond shoots down the barrel. There's awesome music, and the gun barrel opens up to the opening scene, so that's there. Second thing is opening scene, or pre-title sequence is what we call it. There's usually like a little mini movie before the credits in Bond movies. That goes back all the way to From Russia with Love. And this one has a really long one. This has got to be the longest pre-title sequence in any Bond movie. And where a lot of the older ones I like, the opening sequence does not tie into the movie at all. It's just Bond off on a standalone mission. This one ties into the movie greatly, as have the last few, probably the last 10 or 20 years they've been doing this, tying the opening sequence into the movie. Not that some of the older ones didn't do that too, but for the most part it was like its own little thing. This one has a good opening sequence. Like, it's very different from any other Bond movie, but I really enjoyed all of it. There's a lot of throwbacks to old movies that I like. Just kind of things they threw in there to please Bond fans like me. So I don't know if other people would enjoy those type of things, but I certainly did. And there was like a flashback scene on the pre-title sequence, which was pretty darn scary. I just been watching the Halloween movies Tight White and the gang are gonna do a rate and review of the Halloween movies on the October 23rd that I'm gonna be part of. So I'm in the Halloween movie mood right now. I'm watching through all of those, taking notes. And the beginning of this movie feels like a Halloween movie. Like you've never seen anything like this in a Bond movie. Opening sequence. So the opening sequence there, check. Opening titles, it's there with the wonderful graphics and all that, and the credits. That's here with the song. The song is lovely enough. It's all right. It's not my favorite song, but it gets the job done. It's a nice little song. I don't think it holds up to anything like that Shirley Bassey did. What's that little girl's name? Billie Eilish, that does the new song. It's a nice little song. It's kind of too soft for me. I like more of the louder Bond themes, or if it is like a slow ballad, I don't mind those either. But it got the job done. I enjoyed it well. I would have liked to see some silhouettes of naked ladies, but we didn't get that. But that's fine. It maybe seemed out of place in this movie. Okay, the next thing I always want in a Bond movie is Bond sneaking around, like doing spy stuff, a sneaky Bond, usually wearing black, sneaking around on a mission, maybe using a grappling hook or just sneaking around, overhearing conversations or using microphones or whatever. And this movie didn't really have a lot of that. This is more like Bond being Rambo the whole time, or John Wick, which is cool, but there wasn't quite a lot of sneaky Bond in here, which I tend to like. So I won't really knock it for that, but that's one of the things I wanted in a Bond movie, and it wasn't here. Okay, I want pretty women in here. I want Bond girls for Bond to seduce. At least two. That's been a mainstay in most of the Bond movies. There's always a pretty lady, like pretty contact, or someone he just meets like a civilian. Tons of pretty ladies. I like Bond to be a ladies' man, and like he's a handsome guy that's charming to the women. Like, I would never do this stuff in real life, like flirt with women. I'm happily married, but it's just like a male fantasy to see this cool guy who's single that can go around and seduce all these beautiful women without much effort at all, just being natural and smooth. And there are quite a few pretty women in this movie, but he doesn't do a lot of seducing. He doesn't take any of them to bed except for the main girl. And that's more of like a long-lasting relationship. So this Bond's kind of tied down. So it might feel out of place in this movie for him to be the ladies' man. So I don't know. I still would have liked to have seen it, though. There was a few great opportunities at the beginning of the movie, but it didn't happen. So I can't really check that box. Okay, action. Ever since the beginning, Bond movies have had a lot of great action scenes. Some of the best choreographed stunts ever in any movie in all of cinema, going all the way back to the 60s. They really ramped up like in the 70s and the 80s up until now. And it's always been there. They always push the limits of what stuntmen can do and what drivers can do and what fight choreography can do. It always pushes the limits, and this does the same thing, so I'll check that box. I usually like to have a car chase, or at least all of these are one or a couple of them in here. I want a fist fight, a scuba diving scene. It might not have to be a fight, but like a good underwater dramatic sequence, or a gunfight, or an elevator fight, or a ski chase, or a ski fight. We haven't seen that in a while. Or a car chase, or any type of vehicle. This has car chases galore. This wonderful car chases, gadget-laden Aston Martin, the DB5, and then the Aston Martin. I forget which model that is from Living Daylights makes a return. I love that car. That's in here. I don't think it has any chasings, but there's a few other vehicular chases in this. Very nice. There's no scuba diving and there's no skiing. I was sad about that. No elevator fights or elevator situations. Usually Bond's falling out of an elevator. Is there? There might be a little bit of elevator action towards the end in that base. It does have the evil villain's lair. The villain's lair is awesome. I think I forgot to put that on here. And then here's another thing I want. I want an MI6 scene. I want a Bond movie with a mission. None of these have had them lately. It's always like personal stuff Bond's dealing with. I'm not really crazy about that. I mean, it works good for these movies, but I want an MI6 scene with M giving Bond the mission. I want to see Bond giving M some attitude. We got some of that in here. Or them kind of clashing. M, like, they have a lot of respect for each other always, but I like to see a little bit of confrontation between M and Bond. And then we get a little bit of that. I want a Q scene with the Q lab, all the gadgets. I want to see Bond giving Q a hard time and frustrating Q. And we get a Q scene, but it's not like in the lab or anything, so I'm not going to check that. I want Moneypenny. I want to see Bond flirting with Moneypenny and vice versa. Moneypenny flirting with Bond. We have Moneypenny in here, and she's lovely, but we don't really get much of her. Okay, here's another thing. I want a larger than life villain with like world domination I want a over the top, larger than life villain that's looking to change the world, like world domination or destroying the world, and we get that here. This guy is probably my favorite villain of all of the Daniel Craig's, and he's really dark and dislikable. Like you really want to see Bond smash this guy, which is cool. I kind of like villains where you really want to see them get beat down. I think when I first saw Goldfinger, I really didn't like Goldfinger. I wanted Bond to get this guy. I've grown to love Goldfinger. Just that part is such a good villain, but at the time, like, man, this guy's such a scumbag. I want to see Bond get him. And this guy here, Safin, played by, I can't think of the actor's name. I'm sorry. He played Freddie Mercury in the Queen movie. But excellent villain. So I'll check that one. Henchman. I want some mainstay henchmen that last throughout most of the movie. Like a good example is Jaws or Odd Job. We get a couple of them in here, or maybe just one, but he's a pretty good one. He has a mechanical eye or something, so a little deformation. Like a lot of the classic Fleming novel villains have some kind of deformity. The main villain does too, but then there's a henchman with like a mechanical eye. So I thought that was very, very Bondian. So I'll check henchman. It wasn't probably the best henchman, but he kept showing up and giving Bond problems. And every time you see him, like, oh, not this guy again. So I like stuff like that. And then it's got to have, the music has to be good. I was not crazy about the music in the last two. I mean, it was great. It was fine, beautiful music, but I want some Bond theme in there. I want some like great composition. This movie it was Hans Zimmer that did the Batman movies. It sounds a lot like Batman, but you get a lot of that John Barry flavor that I like. Like there's a lot of little melodies kind of weaved into the score. Like you hear the Majesty Secret Service theme in here, and you hear We Have All the Time in the World weaved in here, some old classic Bond songs. You hear the Bond theme a lot. That's been missing from the last few movies. The Bond theme is in this movie a lot, so I got to check this one. And then the main title, the No Time To Die song, is weaved into the score too. I love it when they put the theme song of the movie within the score, like the music's like, it'll be kind of slow during like a romantic scene or whatever. I love that. That is in here, and I'm glad that made a return, because I don't remember on the last one if they even weaved the song into the score, but that was there. And then I went, so I'll check that one, a big check on there. And then I want Bond to go on a mission. I think I mentioned this earlier. I want him to assign Bond a mission and not have him go rogue or go do something personal or deal with his personal life. I want Bond to go on a mission and just like go from clue to clue and piece together the plot of the movie. I don't want some like character driven story in a Bond movie. I don't mind if there's a little bit of character development, but I want these things plot driven. This thing I think is it might be 50-50. I can't it's always so personal, like it's always tied to him and his family or his back life. It's been like that for a long time, and I don't care for that. I like it when there's a nice plot that I can follow. And I just want to see Bond being badass, being suave, being a badass fighter, racing cars or whatever, seducing the women. And this one had a lot of good action and a cool little mission at the end, but I don't know whether to check that one or not. A mission, because this is mostly just stuff happens and he's not really doing spy stuff. but I mean the stakes are high in this movie, so I got to give it that. It takes me back to like Spy Who Loved Me or Moonraker. I'm not really giving much away, and so I might not put spoilers on this. Yeah, and that's about it. So those are my major checks. So I think this movie got most of them. The only thing, just a couple ones. So that being said, I guess I like this a lot. It just doesn't feel like my Bond movie. This is not the Bond movie for me. I mean, it's the movie for me. I'm glad I took the day off the work to go watch it. I'll probably go watch it again. Like I feel like I'm kind of brainwashed into liking these Daniel Craig movies just because I'm a Bond fan. Like they're nothing like the movies I liked. Like no one likes Diamonds Are Forever, but none of these movies hold a candle to Diamonds Are Forever for me, or even A View to a Kill. Like no one even likes those movies, but I think those are Bond movies. Those are Bond going on a mission, being a stud, and none of this. All of the MI6 guys being part of the story and part of the plot, and all throughout the whole movie. I just want to see Bond being not so much a rogue, but just like one lone wolf out on a mission. He might go to MI6 for resources or every once in a while to report back to them. But all this, every single character is all tied to him, and he always has to have all of the MI6 people around him. It's just that's not my type of thing. Although the movies are enjoyable, I can't really